Good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started and call this meeting to order. We will have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, Dr. Thomason, roll call.
President Reese, members of the board, please let the record show that all 5 board members are here and present tonight. I would also like to recognize Gilbert Councilman Scott Anderson, who has joined us tonight.
Thank you. I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any questions or comments regarding the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We will go on to the superintendent's report.
President Reese, members of the board, at this time I would like to invite Michelle Reese up to recognize some special individuals we have here tonight. Mrs. Reese.
Thank you, Dr. Thomason. President Reese, governing board members, and our community, thank you so much for joining us this evening. First, I'd like to bring up Williamsfield Assistant Principal Ray Gordon to introduce some special students and their coach.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's my distinct pleasure to recognize a good friend of mine, Coach Larson, as well as all of our Unified Sports members who are last year's track and field state champions. So, Coach Larson, I ask you to come forward.
Thank you. I'd like my team to come on up. This unified team last year not only won state track and field, they won the basketball championships, state basketball championships, and at the end of the year, they were finalists for one of the top 3 unified teams in the state for AZ Central Awards. Athletic awards. So they're a phenomenal team, phenomenal group of kids. Many of the team members have moved on to college and are unable to make it tonight. But I want to recognize these guys. Brody Lalo. Emma Boren. Ty Skiles. Sean O'Hare, Ryan Moran, and Caleb McCullough. I also want to thank Higley, our district, for sponsoring this program. It's a phenomenal program. Our kids have amazing opportunities. And I also want to thank Dr. Fowler and Mr. Stengel for their support, and especially our parents. Our parents have been amazingly supportive the entire year, every step of the way for these kiddos. So I want to thank them.
Hello, my name is Emma Boren, and I would like to thank you guys for the amazing opportunity to be part of the Unified Track Team. And thank you, Coach Larson, for being such an amazing coach. And one of my favorite memories of being on the track team and basketball team was Brody's jokes. Okay, he can tell some amazing, amazing jokes. And also, actually, that was really it. Thank you for giving me such an amazing opportunity. Thank you.
Mom, I'd like to thank you. You're the real MVP.
Hey, I don't play back. How you doing, Caleb? I can't play back. I done a time. I did get the championship. I could have done. I could have family. I did the time I could get to school with your kids. I better consider before. I did get the dog. Thank you.
Thank you, Williamsfield. We have another team to recognize this evening, and I learned something, so before I bring up the whole team, I'm going to be bringing up Clay Ashworth, who has helped the Sossaman Middle School percussion team become state champions this year. And a great story about Mr. Ashworth is he is a product of Higley High School and Santan Elementary School. So we've had him here in the district quite a while, and he is now teaching. He is our newest elementary music teacher here. So, Mr. Ashworth.
Hey, so I am Mr. Ashworth. I represent the Sossaman Indoor Middle School Percussion Ensemble. I just want to take a quick thank you to Mr. Keeling, also Mr. Dolan, the principals over at Sossaman Middle School. We couldn't have done this activity without you guys, so thank you so much. Also a shout out to Miss Waros. She couldn't be here tonight, but she's the band director at Sossaman. Also couldn't have done it without her. So without further ado, can the students of Sossaman Indoor Percussion Ensemble come up here, represent your people. One of our jobs is to march around and make a shape, so hopefully they can stand in a line. There we go. Awesome. All right. This is your Sossaman Indoor Percussion Ensemble.
President Reese, members of the board, we do have a few more events coming up in August. For August 16th, we do have the 2018 Teacher of the Year Awards Banquet at the Doubletree Elegante starting at 6 p.m. And then on August 22nd, we have a board meeting and a work study here in the boardroom at 6 p.m. Those are the events we have coming up in August.
Thank you. And I saw the Sossaman Indoor Percussion Show at the championships. It was a lot of fun. They were amazing. So, all right, we will go on to board comments. I think it's been a busy year and busy, well, I say busy year, busy start of the year. And I want to thank all of our schools and our principals for being accessible and making sure that we have that we had a smooth start to the school year. Board comments?
President Reese?
Mrs. Kaler?
I just want to send out an extra special thank you to all our teachers and staff that stayed for curriculum nights. Those were very, very long days for many of our teachers, and so I just want to make sure they know that we are very grateful for their time.
Madam President,
Mr.
as long
Glover?
as we're giving out thank yous, two thank yous to all the classified staff that helped get our schools ready over the summer. It is sometimes the air conditioning's on, sometimes it's not, but they put in a lot of hard physical labor to get our classrooms ready and then so our teachers can do their jobs. And the other thing is the awards dinner was rescheduled from last year, and I'm sure there's a lot of people, some of whom are in this room, that had to work to reschedule all of that. So in case nobody says thank you for all that.
Very nice. All right, we will then go on to request to speak to the governing board. We have no requests. All right. Then we will go on to our consent agenda items. I move that we approve consent agenda items 6.2 through 6.10 as presented.
Support.
Any questions or comments?
Madam President, I just have a question on 6.7. If in our board package, it says that one of the sporting events that the team is driving to Florida in one of our buses, so has that been amended? So if we approve this tonight, we're not forcing them to drive to Florida in a bus?
President Reese, members of the board, they will be picking up a van in Florida, so they'll be driving a van in Florida, and they will be going to the airport in one of our school vans, but they will be flying to Florida. We do have the coach here tonight if you would like to ask him any direct questions in regards to this incredible opportunity for our golf team. Just a reminder, both Williamsfield and Higley are ranked golf teams in the United States. They have made the national ranking at both of our high schools in the USA.
Madam President, just 6.7, I just want to wish there's some out-of-state travel, assuming that passes. Best wishes to our student council, dance, CTE, and all the sports teams that are traveling to represent Higley all over the place. Can I talk about 6.8? It's the district. Okay. So just to anybody who cares, there was a. Let me pull up the policy here. This could have been processed like a month ago, but I held it up because I wanted it to specifically say, when looking at electronic devices that were district-owned, I wanted to make it clear to our staff that their personal devices are their personal devices. So that was the holdup on that one. And then 6.9 is a first read of an amendment of a policy that our schools have to instruct students in CPR. I'm going to sound like a jerk for a second. It's great that people learn CPR. They should. It's great. But this is yet another unfunded state mandate from the state legislature. It would have been nice if they had us do that and provided some funds to be able to do that. But we'll figure it out. And it's not a bad thing. But it's yet another example of all the things that we have to do without funding. And then 6.10, 6.10. Dr. Fowler, this is the pre-approval for overnight field trip requests. This is a good solution to a policy problem, and I just wanted to commend you for thinking ahead, because you have to get these things approved ahead of time, and it's really hard to get them on, and those happen, so Good thinking, I like it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm just going to go back to 6.9. And just had a question. Do we know what the cost is for us to teach all these kids CPR?
President Reese, members of the board, the legislation is very unclear in the aspects of this. It just says we have to give them training. It does not require certification for all the students. We are working with the Red Cross and some of the other agencies within the state of Arizona to help us with that training. And so that will be provided to all high school students as required by Arizona Revised Statute. But the statute is still very unclear in regards to continuation, in regards to funding, in regards to the requirements. And so we are trying to find a way, with the help of the Red Cross and community organizations, to make sure that we can get our students certified. I believe the intent of the law was certification. And
Okay.
so we are taking a look at that.
So at the moment, though, it is unclear if certification is required.
Certification-
Right now, we just know it as instruction.
Correct.
And we have certified instructors on our campuses that we can utilize. Obviously, there's a cost of their time, but if it's done in certain classes, things like that.
That is correct, President Reese. We are looking at making it a component of freshman PE and band. As all students within the state of Arizona have to have a required PE or band component for graduation.
Perfect. And thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Glover, that again, we're mandated to do something, and it's a great idea. I think everyone who can should be certified in CPR. It certainly saves lives, but there's a cost to it.
President Reese?
Mrs. Kaler.
Mrs. Martins, I have a quick question on our the personnel action items underneath termination, line 19. You want to look it up? Can you see it? It's the Higley Bookstore.
The bookstore
Termination.
item? So I don't have that with me. No,
Oh,
I
you don't?
reviewed it earlier today, but I didn't bring it with me. Dr. Thomason's going to provide it.
Line 19. It has a termination date, but I believe that was retracted. Because
Yes,
she's
that is
coming back to
accurate.
Monday?
That person is
should we
coming back,
remove
so it
that?
should be removed. Yes.
Okay. Can you amend that?
I think we found that out after the agenda had been submitted, so.
Okay, thank you.
So then I will,
To be very honest.
Yes.
and I will amend my motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of 6.2 under terminations and resignation of employment, line number 19, that item be removed. Mr. Ratovich, do you support that? Okay. Thank you for catching that. I did just want to make a comment. I meet with Dr. Thomason regularly, and I did have a conversation with Dr. Thomason yesterday regarding kind of the amount of resignations that we have on this. And I get pretty much a lot come from the summer, and it all catches up, and it's all on one board packet. But I did ask that Dr. Thomason work with HR to make sure that we understand a lot of them are hourly employees and that don't have positions over the summer, and if they've sought other employment over the summer, that became permanent employment, just so we can have a better feel of losing people over the summer months when there's not work for them, to see if there's something that we can continuously look to do. Obviously, we can't create work over the summer for them, but if there's some way we can try and mitigate a little bit of it. I know this isn't a reflection of our actual staffing because, again, We have a whole lot of new hires as well, and it kind of compiles from the summer months, since this is our first board meeting since school started. So I did talk to Dr. Thomason about that yesterday, just so we can take a look and make sure that we're finding out the reasons.
Absolutely, President Reese and members of the governing board. The other dynamic and something that we've been talking about in cabinet is we're taking a look at our salary surveys and identifying whether or not we are comparable not only to surrounding districts, but also to private organizations. With the increase of minimum wage coming on January 1, and then again next January of 2020, we're trying to be proactive in the bigger picture. So there'll be a work study that'll be presented to you this fall, as well as obviously then recommendations that will come to you in terms of a new schedule that we hope will be, for lack of a better word, more competitive than maybe we've had in the past.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments regarding consent? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. All right, we will now go on to our action and information items. 8.1, the ASBA delegation selection. So it's an information item. We will have a discussion on potentially sending a Higley representative as a delegate on September 8th, 2018.
And Madam President, it says alternate delegate 2. Is the alternate delegate going, or only if something happens to the delegate between now and September 8th?
Typically what we have done is both the delegate and the alternate have gone. And if we have sent somebody, we have not sent somebody every year, but if we do have a delegate, typically we have a delegate and an alternate. They do both go. And I have been one of the alternates, and it provides some discussion because as a delegate you do vote, and it allows the delegate and the alternate delegate kind of discuss what we would think would be best for our district in the way we would like to vote. So it helps provide additional information and support, but if one or the other was unable to make it, then one would go. Is anyone interested in being a delegate? Bueller?
I can, Madam President, if the board felt it was important. I mean, looking at the agenda, it's pretty clear, and I think most of it's pretty good. I think it will probably. I think these are a lot of the things that are needed. So I don't.
Well, and if we recall, we had the opportunity to send our information in to the ASBA as to what we felt was important to our district on the for the political agenda. So we have had a say in creating it. If we would like I said, if we'd like to send somebody, then we can. We have not necessarily sent sent someone every year.
I'm already going to be up there for a few days, so I could go, but I'd prefer not to go. Does that make sense?
That's a good point, because the ASBA Law Conference is also in September, which is a 3-day conference. So that will take time also in September for board members. So
Yeah, if we want Higley to be represented, I can go, if you would like.
input, discussion.
I think Scott should go.
That's awesome, Scott. Thank you.
Well, with that discussion, then I move that Scott Glover be our delegate representative at the ASBA Delegate Assembly. The word.
I second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. All right, motion passes 5-0. Mr. Glover is our delegate. Is anyone interested in being an alternate? Okay. Mr. Glover, it looks like you're on your own. Represent us well. If for some reason you are unable to attend, be sure to let Mrs. Reach know. But we thank you for being our representative.
Madam President, if Mr. Glover cannot go, I can be an alternate. I think I'm going to be up there as well with the law conference is my hope. So I should be in the vicinity, but I'll support him if he can make it. But if we need an alternate, I can do that as well.
Okay, then I will move Mr. Thornock as our alternate.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
And for the two of you, just be in communication with each other. If you can both make it, great. If not, just make sure you're letting each other know, as well as Mrs. Reach.
President Reese,
Mrs. Kaler?
just a little comment on this, that the one thing that I didn't see on here, and I maybe they'll discuss it, gentlemen, when you're up there for it, is like the capital funding.
You're already moving on to the next line item?
Oh, am I? I'm sorry, I'm moving
I'm just
ahead.
teasing. No, it's just an information
Okay, so I can
discussion.
talk about it.
You're
So
fine.
that's the only thing that I would kind of be interested in to hear is why that wasn't one of the top things that they put on here. That's all.
And if anyone has any other specific comments regarding the specific political agenda, I'm comfortable on however you choose to vote on any of these items. I think that collectively we did a really good job, and I think we were all on the same page and had the same priorities on what we felt was important. So I don't have anything specific on the political agenda that I would say, hey, kind of make sure you go this way. I don't know if anyone else does. No? All right. Hard part's over. Any future agenda items? I think we have a list of what's coming up in work studies, so I think we're getting that. Mrs. Kaler?
Yes, I think also Dr. Thomason and I met this week too, and I think we're going to have a Canvas update or Canvas lesson at some point. He's going to be putting that on the books for us as well.
President Reese, members of the board, I have talked to Dr. Malawine in regards to that, and we will have teachers from both of our high schools come in and be able to talk about Canvas in a more detailed fashion and answer any questions you have in regards to Canvas.
That way we can get what they like about it, what's challenging about it. Okay. All right. Anything else? All right, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Have a good evening.